What is your but wait, it gets worse story. Got rear-ended by a truck. Pulled over to check my trunk on a hilly street. A car parked behind me rolled downhill and crushed me between it and my newly messed up trunk. Suffered some cracked ribs. In late 2016, my live-in girlfriend and I were in a rough patch. I was kind of riding it out until the end of the lease to see if things got any better. Narrator, they did not. In late October, she told me that she was breaking up with me. A week later, I was laid off. She moved out shortly after. A few weeks after that, I saw on social media that she had gotten engaged. Sometime after that, mutual friends assured me that she had been cheating. I found a contract job, which I hated. While there, I started a side contracting gig. When the primary contract ended, I decided to take my side gig full-time. Since I suck at sales, I couldn't manage to get traction. Fortunately, I am now in a job I enjoy very much. Back in the gym losing weight and eating more. Basically, if my life were an NFL team, the coach would call this a rebuilding year. My wraparound skirt blew away while I was walking down the sidewalk. But wait, it gets worse. It happened right in front of a funeral home. And yes, there were at least 24 mourners filing into the building. As I chased my skirt down the sidewalk in my panties. Got out of the Navy. Decided to go to college. Met a girl. Liked the girl. It's close to my birthday 2 years later. Crossed road to meet my dad. He was passing through town for work and dropped off my present. Gets mashed by himself while on foot. My head breaks off his mirror. Crush the windshield. Total the car. It gets worse. They shave the side of my head with a scalpel so they can staple my skin flat back to my skull. 2 weeks later, hobble back into my apartment. CGF blowing guy on my bed. Heartbreak. Anger. Pain. I'm a Sith Lord by now. Should have stayed in the Duckin Navy. Too crippled to re-enlist. Thanks God. I was at a country concert in the middle of June and was dancing with some friends and all of a sudden they disappeared. I was pretty drunk. As I'm leaving to go find them, this girl grabs my hand and we start dancing. One thing led to another and we started making out. Until at one point she pulls away and says I don't think my boyfriend would like this. I tell her I'm going to grab a beer to get away and she grabs my hand and says she'll come with me. Here's where it gets worse. I run into a customer from the store I work at and start chatting with him. The girl with me starts chatting with the customer's girlfriend. All of a sudden I hear her tell the customer's girlfriend, yeah, it's my birthday in September. I turn 18 inches. Noped out of there so fast. 2014. My mom died in May. Then her Bichon poodle, Katie, died. My father dies 9 weeks 4 days after my mom. Just 4 days before my birthday. 1 week after he passed, my roommate got drunk and drove my car into the front of the house we were renting. On the day of my father's funeral my roommate moved put without notice and steals some of my belongings. Now we're in September and my boyfriend has a grand mal seizure and requires hospitalization. October 2014, my mother's other Bichon poodle has seizures and dies. My soul locked his keys in his car about 6 weeks ago. Well, only the hidden key that lives inside the fob. But you see, the unlock key on the fob is broken. So the key is required to enter the car. And the fob fits into the ignition. He had no other choice than to open the trunk with the fob. Punch out the small trunk access door that's behind the backseat armrest. Find the lever to lower the rear seats by shoving his body through the tiny door. Crawl through the car. And retrieve his key in the front seat. I also forgot to mention that the alarm was blaring this whole time. He finally gets through to the front seat. Starts the car. And hills the alarm. Exhausted. With bloody knuckles and scrapes all over. He gets out of the car and shuts the door behind him. It is then that he realized he had left the keys on the seat. Again. And the door had locked behind him. He turned and gave a swift punt to his tire out of frustration, immediately snapping his third metatarsal, breaking his foot. He then had to repeat this scenario to get his keys out, this time with a broken foot. He just got his boot off last week. In college I had a few friends over my dorm to hang out. I was really interested in this girl, so I approached her, asked her if she was interested in me. She said gross. Never with you. Then started throwing up in my room. But wait, it gets worse. I head across the hall to borrow a mop. I return. The door's locked and she's banging someone on my bed. My keys were inside the room and I was banging on the door non-stop. I had to wait half an hour until they were done. To my surprise, they had also thrown up on my back laptop. Friend got a puppy recently. Adorable little jerk. He peed on the floor. I accidentally stepped in it. Waddled to the bathroom to clean up and I stepped in dog shit. My dad was making huge progress dealing with depression and other personal demons. About to start work on a new career and had a new lease of life. As cheesy as it sounds, everything was starting to feel like it was getting better and life was good. Then he died of heart disease in his sleep. A few months after getting the all clear from cancer. That was his second fight with cancer. He died 4 days before his birthday. And 3 days before my mum's birthday. I stepped on a nail that went clear through my boot and into a bone in my foot. But wait. It gets worse. My doctor was all booked up and could not see me for a few weeks. They prescribed antibiotics over the phone. But the wound got worse. I finally get into the doctor and they say there's nothing they can do. I should go to the hospital. Docs at the hospital say I'm going to need an amputation and immediate IV antibiotics. I lost my big toe and a large portion of my foot. But wait. It gets worse. Turns out that the partial foot is only going to cause me problems in the future. And there's still a chance that the infection is still present in the remaining portion of the foot. I end up getting a second amputation about 4 inches below the knee. Moral of the story. When a doctor tells you they are all booked up, don't accept that sheet. Go camp in their office. Walked in on my ex having sex with a girl and a guy, but wait. It gets worse. Told her it was time for her to move. 3 days later she shows up to get her stuff and smashes me in the face with a table lamp. Police show up and arrest me, but wait. It gets worse. Sitting in the cell for a few hours, then 2 detectives come and take me to an interrogation room. They have my pistol sitting on the table along with ammo and a few knives. Okay, no big deal, but wait. It gets worse. One of the detectives leaves. Comes back a minute later and slams a sawed-off shotgun onto the table. WTF? Apparently her new beau had hidden it in the furnace room. Took 7 years and cost about $10,000 in lawyer's fees to get my record cleared, but wait. It gets worse. Itch gave me HPV. Me and my fiancé lost our kid due to miscarriage. But wait, it gets worse. She has a mental breakdown. Which I completely understand and did everything I could to support her. But she splits. So I've lost my child and my fiancé. But wait, it gets worse. I have to go to work the next day. And my car, which had issues, but still ran, ended up completely breaking down on the way to work. But wait, it gets worse. I have no steady transportation. And worked out of town. And so because I was unable to get to work, I lose my job. But wait, it gets worse. With no job. And no transportation. I'm in a very bad financial situation. And can't afford rent. So I lose my place. Last year was a very rough year for me. I lost everything I had in a short period of time. And lost a very close relative to suicide a few months later as well. 2017 was a very rough year for me. Edit, spelling. Got abused as a baby. Parents mentally and physically abused me and locked me in. I was so mentally ill that I didn't even know how to talk to others. So of course I got bullied at school. Luckily they put me in a home at 13. When I started therapy. But started self-harm too. Cutting to the bone. Drinking chemicals. Burning myself. I cannot wear any clothes that show my arms and legs ever since. I've attempted suicide a few times, of which one was by overdose. I have heart problems from that still. I got raped a few times by different people. Was homeless. Gained weight. Became a drug addict. Just when, after 7 years of therapy, I started to feel better and decided to do what I love and started to study design. I got an eye disease that left me almost blind. Nevertheless, I am happier than I've ever been today. Although I live alone and am very lonely sometimes. I decided to go to university, which starts next week. I have the most awesome guide dog in the world and he is everything to me. I finally realized that being happy is a choice you have to make, no matter the circumstances. My boyfriend breaks up with me and so I come into work sobbing and inconsolable. I go to the bathroom and manage to clog the one toilet we have, so I spent 2 hours locked in there unclogging it. Then finally I can go home, and on the way back my tire bursts and I spin out of control on the freeway, crashing into the side of the road. But wait. When I finally arrive home I call up my friend crying, saying I can't believe what has just happened today. She says, dude, I know Donald Trump is president. I blame myself for saying after the toilet clogging that things couldn't get any worse. Lost my house and both cars with my girlfriend to Hurricane Florence. We were renting. It flooded. Girlfriend loses job. I luckily work from home. But it gets worse. Had $65 renter's insurance that didn't cover flooding because we weren't in the flood zone. Swayed us into being okay. FEMA only gives a $1,000. Lost everything. Barely scratches the surface of just trying to relocate. Displaced our 8x8 room with a friend with girlfriend and our 2 dogs. We were originally in North Carolina. Now in Virginia Beach. Have to keep driving back and forth to NC on a rental car. Been doing this almost a month now. Didn't know anyone I could stay with in NC and the shelter made it impossible for me to continue to work from home, so we had to find friends here. Our lease has been terminated but owners want to keep the security deposit. They want to fight us in court for this money we desperately need. Even started demoing the house as we were still trying to get whatever stuff survived out. 2 days ago as of today. Girlfriend ends our 4-year relationship. Perfect timing, right? Losing her and my 2 dogs. Can't really figure out why, I'll probably find out soon. Virginia Beach is about to get hit by the next Hurricane Michael. Looks to be only a tropical storm by the time it gets here. I will keep this updated if it gets much worse. It hasn't stopped. My last month and a half. First my phone broke. Paid for that. Then my hard drive failed. Paid for that. Job rescinds offer. Ouch. Pay for school out of pocket. Ouch. Other job cuts hours down to 30 for the month. Triple ouch. Get food poisoning my first day of class. And then I was hit by a car that destroyed my bike and now I'm embroiled in an insurance battle. Didn't get the job at the place I wanted to. When I tell this story of events to my friends they just look at me expecting another, but wait, it gets worse. Cognitively reframing this, phones break. The repair wasn't a whole new phone. That's great. They managed to save all of my data and work from my hard drive. So lucky. Glad I had an external drive. I'm back in school. Learning what I want. I'm happy that the job was rescinded because the owner seemed like a scumbag. Job cut hours to remain fiscally relevant and have assured me of more hours in the coming month. Phew. Gives me a little more of a chance to focus on school. Glad I spent all those months saving and not whittling into my nest egg. And I had food poisoning but I still went to class. I finally realized that this is my education. No one else is going to help me and I can't let a bad spell in my stomach prevent me from getting the grades I know I can get. Being hit by a car sucks, but I'm silly lucky to be alive and will most likely be made whole due to this reckless asshole's behavior. I've been eyeing a new bike for a few months, so hopefully I'll have a new one before the season shuts down entirely.